All right, so yesterday we touched on the foundation, and with the foundation in the previous episode, I meant the foundation Delirium. Delirium is the foundation of every trading plan that we have out there. So the important thing to understand is, of course, Delirium. Now, the next thing I want you to do is, below this video, we again have a Notion link right there. And if you could please open that Notion link for me, and then you'll see trading plans with a little line FP. The FP stands for filtering process. So these are all trading plans that you can use for a filtering process. Now, does that mean that they are limited to a filtering process? Not necessarily. You can also use them for a flow trading plan, which we will go over tomorrow. But they are best used in a filtering process itself. Now, at the top, you will see Delirium. Then below that, you will see One Shot, One Kill. Then below that, you will see Lost Art. And below that, you see Thank God It's Friday. Now, it is important to understand when you choose a trading plan, what you are essentially doing. You either have an FP trading plan, so a filtering process trading plan, or a flow trading plan. So do you want to focus on one instrument or focus on multiple instruments, and you want to find the highest probability conditions on those instruments right there. Then from that, if you choose either one of them, either choose FP or flow trading plan. All right, from flow trading plan, again, that is something we will discuss tomorrow. After that, if you do choose FP, so filtering process, then you either choose Delirium or you choose OSOC, which stands for One Shot, One Kill right there, or you choose Lost Art right there, or you choose your own variation that you created. Now, it is important to understand that One Shot, One Kill, Lost Art, they are Delirium equal to Delirium. So based on the data, they are equal to Delirium, or they are better than Delirium itself. And what I mean by that is Delirium sets the standard. It's the minimum for every trading plan out there. And I mean that literally. So what do I actually mean by that if I can define it? The data that I shared for Delirium, that we have for Delirium, if you are not aware of the data, it's below the trade recaps right there. Though that data would be achieve the exact same or even better data during a One Shot, One Kill trading plan or a Lost Art trading plan. The exact same data or even better data. Why is that? Well, because in Delirium, since it's the standard, it's the foundation of all, and One Shot, One Kill is either equal or it's better. Since in Delirium, if I can just take you with me, imagine a daily context. So this daily context right here, for example, this daily context, you're moving from that daily premium rate to that daily discount right there. In between there, we want to get involved. Now, a Delirium trading plan would be what? It would be a 15-minute ST plus a RE. A One Shot, One Kill trading plan would be a 1-hour ST. A 1-hour ST already has a 15-minute ST plus RE inside that inside that 1-hour ST. So it's equal towards the Delirium trading plan. Again, in some scenarios, it might differ a little bit, but in that sense, it is almost equal, and sometimes it can be better or a little bit worse, but it's equal. It's equal if you take the same exact trades on the same exact higher time frame, then it's equal to Delirium. Then Lost Art is interesting because Lost Art, you require even more confirmation, because Lost Art, you don't need one ST on the 1 hour. For example, here, daily context, you would need 1-hour ST plus RE. So that is even higher probability. So the data for that would be even better. Again, you might take less trades right there, but your win rate would be higher. Your return might be higher because you're more aware of what it wants to do. And then again, if you want to create your own trading plan and have your unique trading plan, which you essentially already got to when you followed the videos here, this is just an inspiration on how you can do it. Then I want you to use the concepts and use the timeframes very creatively. As in, One Shot, One Kill, Lost Art, they are the exact same concepts that we use for Delirium, because Delirium sets the standard right here. It's everything. Everything is based on Delirium. But One Shot, One Kill, we got creative with the concepts. Same for Lost Art, we got creative with the concepts right there. That is very important. So that is how you can get very creative with the timeframes and with the concepts as well. So you can have very creative boundaries as well, which we will touch on tomorrow as well in the flow training plan, which will be very interesting. So that is very important as well. Then you can notice, of course, that I didn't mention Thank God Friday. And why didn't I do that here? Is because we have Delirium, One Shot One Kill, Lost Art right there, or your own training plan. Again, you don't need to use these, but you can use them as a guideline, as inspiration, etc. Or you can blatantly copy them. Perfectly fine. Do whatever you want to. But Thank God Friday is just an add-on, because Thank God Friday, you're only focusing on one particular day, which is Friday. So if you combine Delirium and One Shot One Kill, yes, don't do that. If you combine Delirium, One Shot One Kill, and Lost Art, yes, don't do that. These 3 training plans, Delirium, One Shot One Kill, Lost Art, or your own training plan, which you actually full-time focus on, you don't want to do that. You don't want to combine them. You want to stick to one of them. So you either have a flow training plan, either have a filtering process training plan. Inside the filtering process training plan, you either choose Delirium, One Shot One Kill, Lost Art, or your own. So it's one. And then it adds on to that, as a bonus, you have Thank God It's Friday right there, which is perfectly fine. You can combine that with a full-time training plan in the form of Delirium, One Shot One Kill, Lost Art, or your own training plan. But that is very important to understand, that you don't combine them. Thank God Friday can be combined. And I'll tell you as well the reason behind that, etc. So this is the thought process behind it. Delirium, everything other than Delirium is either equal or it's even better. So that is why you need to understand Delirium. Because if you don't understand Delirium and you go below Delirium, so for example, daily context, and you're using 15-minute STs, then you're not equal to Delirium, because you're worse than Delirium, most likely. So that is very important to understand. That is why Delirium is the foundation. And above that, it can only get better. We can only outgrow ourselves. That is extremely important. That Delirium is the OG. It's the original of everything. And then after that, it can only get better or equal to it. That is very important. So with that out of the way, with the context out of the way, and now that we understand why we are doing it this way, of course, we can move on to One Shot One Kill. So inside the One Shot One Kill training plan, again, there we have all the instructions. I will go over the instructions right here. Inside a One Shot One Kill training plan, what you mainly want to be doing is following daily PD race to daily PD race. So you're constantly scouting for daily PD race. Again, doesn't mean you shouldn't do a top-down analysis. Doesn't mean you should still you shouldn't follow economic calendar anymore. And that is very important to understand, right? Because we're still using the same exact concepts. We're just getting very creative with our training plan. So for example, here in the top-down, if we actually click on it, we don't need to use the 4-hour. We can just use the monthly, weekly, daily, and we don't need to use the 4-hour, which is very interesting. So this could be a training plan for you that is very busy throughout the day and you don't have a lot of time, etc. Perfect. Then this is a training plan for you. And again, this is how you can get extremely creative with the concept. So every training plan that I'm showing you here, it's still all the same exact concept that we constantly use. We constantly have order flow, candle signs, structure, and we constantly have that boundary to go into the lower time frame, and we constantly have that ST plus re, etc. So there's constantly still the same concepts that we are using. It's just the way you want to form those concepts together to get to a training plan. How do you want to form the time frames together to get to the training plan? As long as you still understand that the time frames are still in alignment with each other, as in they are still in contact with each other. That is very important. So I hope that makes sense. Again, if you're not sure and you are creating a training plan and you're not sure if it's still in the boundaries of the concept that we are using, if it's still very getting creative, but not creative where you use stuff outside of the mentorship, so you only want to use things that are inside of the mentorship, then perfectly fine. We can do that. And you can send me a message, you can send me an email, whatever, and we can go over that. Perfectly fine. I can check that, of course. So right here, One Shot One Kill, you will notice it's the exact same. The only thing different, the top down is a little bit different because we just take away one part. We take away the 4-hour right there because, again, that is where we don't necessarily need the 4-hour, but we still are in alignment. We are still inside those guidelines of the concepts. That is important. So we have daily PD array. You mainly want to be trading off of daily PD arrays alone. So with a one shot, one kill, what you're essentially doing, you're constantly trying to catch a weekly range. So you're trying to catch the weekly range right there. Daily PD array, 1 hour ST, entry on first variable of ST, cover ST, low/high, target opposing daily PD array. Use the economic calendar. If SL is too big, enter on first PD array in premium or discount. No trades on Friday. Be careful of Thursday. Go break even according to order flow. Those are the guidelines that you want to be using. Again, here you can sort of see as well what suits your needs. So if you want to target 1 to 2 standard, that is perfectly fine. As long as you're not incorporating something crazy like a power of 3, like an AMD, you don't need that. You don't need that because everything is already incorporated in it. That is very important. So when we touch on catching the weekly range, what are we essentially doing? Then we want to have a daily PD rate that is above us. If we are bearish, we want to have a daily PD rate that is above us that can push price lower. And we want to have a discount array that we can target. So the discount array in this case is that weekly level that we are having right there. Perfect. Then what can we see? We can see something like this at the beginning of the week. And then we see something like this right there. That is what we want to have. We want to get involved here to target that weekly range. Perfect. That is what we want to have. So that is where you use daily PD rays. One shot, one kill, use daily PD rays only. Again, doesn't mean that you're just scouting for the daily PD rays. No, you're still using the top-down analysis. So you still are aware of what the monthly and the weekly is doing. That is important. So right here, in a Delirium trading plan, what would you do right there? You would use the economic calendar. So if the time is right, that's the same thing that you would do here on the one shot, one kill. So we want to trade again on a day where we have the economic calendar supporting the ID. But the thing here is you don't look for a 15-minute ST plus RE as you would in Delirium. You would look for a 1 hour ST. Why is that? It's simplified. Why is that? Because if you don't have a lot of time, this is perfect for you. This is one shot, one kill. Why is this perfect? Because if you are looking for a 15-minute ST plus RE, it might take a bit more time. If you're using a 1 hour ST, it's essentially the same as a 15-minute ST plus RE. Now, I can already hear you think, potentially. Again, I don't want to put thoughts into your mind, but I can already hear you think that why are you not using 1 hour STs instead of 1 hour ST plus or 15-minute ST plus REs instead then? That is because, again, it all started with Delirium. So that's the foundation. Sometimes you might not get a 15-minute ST plus RE inside a 1 hour ST. So that is where the data might differ a little bit, but overall it is still the same. So I always prefer the 15-minute because it suits my needs. I don't really personally like entering off a 1 hour ST, otherwise I would be doing it. So I like the 15-minute ST plus RE myself. But I know some people that just like the ST, perfectly fine. I don't like to enter personally off of one ST. It gives me more confidence. It suits me more to enter off of a RE. So that is why I like that, why I prefer that myself. So that is why I would always like the Delirium trading plan. That is just it's my original creation, but everything after is either equal or it's better. Very rarely it's worse. That is extremely rare. That's almost impossible, I would argue, because that doesn't make sense, because the things I'm doing there is I'm creating a trading plan that's the exact same. So one shot, one kill is basically the same, because you would take the same trade here on Euros trading dollar as you would with a Delirium trading model. Or it's better, where you wait for more confirmation. You have a higher win rate, a higher return. So it's not worse. That's something that can't really happen. So that is very important to understand. So if we go into the 1 hour right there, using the economic calendar. So Monday and Tuesday we had Australian dollar news, which we touched on at the beginning of the week actually. So that is nice. I just want to quickly touch on as well. When you're entering on the 1 hour, that is the border for using kill zones. So the 1 hour and above, you don't necessarily need kill zones in my opinion. Again, that is a good thing to gather data on. So if you want to enter off the 1 hour, good. Don't use kill zones, gather the data. If you take a lot of losses outside of kill zones, then eventually you can look to incorporate kill zones. That is how you gather data and use that data. Of course, something we will also touch on in an episode this week. But the thing here is as well important that the 1 hour right there, that is the border for using kill zones. So 1 hour and above, you don't need kill zones to enter. Below that, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, that is what we touched on yesterday, where you want to have kill zones on your site. So between the 2 a.m. and 12 a.m. New York Eastern Time for Forex, of course, flow trading plan, what we'll touch on in the next episode, that is also going to be a little bit different. So that is very important to understand as well. The economic calendar, using the economic calendar, when you're using 1 hour, that's again the border, but now it's 1 hour and below that. So 1 hour and below that, that is where you want to use the economic calendar. 4 hour entries and above, you don't necessarily need to use the economic calendar. As in, yes, it's good to still be aware, but it doesn't have that much of an impact on your entries itself. So the 1 hour and below that, that is very important for the economic calendar still. So 1 hour ST is what we want to be looking at right there. So keep in mind, you would have taken the same trade right there as on a Delirium trading plan, right? That is very important. So we have this context. We move from that premium array to that discount array right there, which we established at the beginning of the week. Now, right here, if we use an ST entry, then this right there would have been your entry. Cover what? Cover ST low/high. All right, perfect. Cover that. And what do you target? Target opposing daily PD array right there. Now, again, would you hold this full 10R? No. You take profits. So you at least, the bare minimum that you do is you go break even. You go break even. That is very important. So you go break even, again, based on order flow. So according to order flow, there's no reason to return back there. So when is there no reason to return back there? We still have 4 hour value gap right there, but not a 4 hour value gap that is at our entry. That is important. All right, interesting. 4 hour value gap right there gets confirmed. Gets confirmed as in it gets traded back into, and we have a new 4 hour value gap lower. Is there a reason to come back above this high? No, so there's absolutely zero reason for price to come back all the way there. Perfect, we want to be break even. Again, what I'm doing there is essentially the same as I did yesterday. My entry time frame is the 1 hour. So I am looking for confirmation on the 1 hour and above to look to go break even. To see, all right, is there a reason for price to return? Of course, because the 1 hour needs to be in context of that 4 hour. The same as we did yesterday with the 50-minute and the 1 hour. That is very important right there, what we are doing. So eventually here, this could have been your one shot, one kill. One shot, one kill, like it says in the name. You take one shot, one kill. Hopefully it's your take profit kill. Hopefully it's not a kill in your account. So that is exactly what you want to be doing. Now, again, with one shot, one kill, you can trade multiple instruments, right? Because multiple instruments right there might be high probability right there. And this is what you call a naked model right there. Because now you can add on to it. You can add on to it like we did yesterday with Delirium, where you can have the original entry with this is your original entry, and then you can add on to it with different things, with extra things. For example, you follow the re-entries, which is right there, and you cover the next short-term high, short-term low right there. Perfect. That is how you can add on to it. That is extremely important as well. Now, if stop loss is too big, enter on first PD array in premium discount. What do I mean by that? That means if, for example, we didn't have an ST right there, and this was our first ST, then I would like to use premium and discount on that order flow leg that we had right there. And then I would like to enter off of that 0.5 level, because that is the first PD array that we encounter, because that is the fair value gap on 0.5 right there. And then you enter off of that. Again, that can also be a rule where you enter on the overlapping part. You don't necessarily need that premium discount. You can also enter on the overlapping part, right? That is, again, getting creative with the concepts. You're getting very creative with the concepts as long as you constantly have that guideline. That is important. So that is how you can do that. Now, if we look at the same thing, so we had Delirium actually setting up here. We had one shot, one kill setting up here, but we also now can navigate towards a lost R trading plan. And if we navigate towards Lost Art Trading Plan and we go to the daily context and we open that up, essentially, we see daily context inside the Notion, daily context, daily PDRay to daily PDRay. Original entry, 1 hour ST plus Verveiga plus overlapping entry. Alright, interesting. So 1 hour ST plus 1 hour plus Verveiga plus overlapping entry. An overlapping entry right here. Did we get that? Not really, because I would argue in this order lag lower, the overlapping part is right there. We did not get that entry, so we essentially missed it. Alright, perfect. So we missed an entry right there. Then we can know, alright, we move on. We move on from that original entry. Then the second one is re-entry. 1 hour opportunity already missed, already happened. 1 hour entry is either missed or your break even. Alright, we missed it. Perfect. Zoom out to the daily time frame. Zoom out to the 4 hour time frame. Zoom out to the 4 hour time frame. Enter on the overlapping part of the STR. So what do we want to do there? We want to zoom out to the 4 hour and we want to enter on the overlapping part of the STR, the short-term range. So what does that mean? We want to use the overlapping part on the order flow lag, which is this breaker right there with that fair value gap right there. That is your overlapping part right there. And you cover that high, which is essentially your short-term range right there. And you target daily context low right there. Or you can also get creative and target that weekly objective right there, which is a 1 to 2. Very nice. So again, you're constantly doing the same right here. You are getting very creative with the concepts. Now, if you notice that every time we have an entry opportunity, there is another entry opportunity in that. So what do I mean by that? That here, inside that overlapping part, what do we have right there? We potentially have an entry right there on the 5-minute time frame, which would be what? Your Delirium trading plan. So you're constantly getting very creative with the trading plans. If you understand the concepts of the Verveiga gaps, the concepts of combining the time frames correctly, then you can get so extremely creative with everything that we're doing here. As long as you don't break the law. And with breaking the law, I mean that you don't break the mentorship law, that you combine things from outside of the mentorship and you combine this and that, and then it's very difficult for me to as well help you. Again, that's not me trying to force you in a sense, but then it's very difficult because I haven't prepared to combine it in a certain way with that, this and that, and that, and that, this. Then of course, you have a very high chance that it won't work. So that is very important to understand, of course. So if you combine the concept that we're using here, again, you can make it very fun because you can get extremely creative. And I know probably the person that's watching this right now, you are probably way more creative than I am. So if I can already create Lost Art, or I can create One Shot One Kill, then you can do way better. Believe me. Again, I of course have a great understanding of the concept that I'm using, but once you understand that, and again, if you're not sure if your trading plan is in context within the concepts, then perfectly fine. Send me a message and I'll go over it, etc. But the basic premises, those are important. So if you followed along, you have the higher time frame analyst phase. So you need to create a boundary, the PDRay. Where's price heading towards? You have to draw liquidity. Then essentially it's summed up. You have to draw liquidity. You know where price is likely heading towards. Using order flow, candle signs, using structure, then you create a boundary to go into the lower time frame. What is that boundary? It's a PDRay. It's some kind of PDRay. What is that PDRay? Again, it's in line with that order flow. Then that PDRay, you want to then go into the lower time frame to look for an entry pattern. Again, it doesn't have to be low time frame. It can also be the 1 hour. Once you had a 1 hour, or you have the 4 hour, etc., then even then you can get even crazier, where you enter off of that in the lower time frame. And doing that, you can get very creative as long as you have the basic premise right there. That is very important. So that is very important to understand right there. So that is Lost Art Trading Plan right there, where you just have the same context, but you use the same rules that are outlined inside the Notion right there. That is very important to understand. All right. So then eventually a lost art training plan could be for you, could also not be for you. As long as you just, again, understand Delirium, and from there on you can create either your own, or you can copy one of them, or you can use them as inspiration. That is important. So then at the end of all these training plans, what do we actually see? Well, what have we done? What is the filtering process? This is where we need to get back to the basics. What is a filtering process essentially doing? A filtering process is filtering out the highest probability conditions. So a filtering process is doing what? It's creating, well, it's filtering out, like I just mentioned, the highest probability conditions. The highest probability conditions are usually what? They are usually when we have a clear weekly range. How do we define a clear weekly range? A clear weekly range is defined by having at the beginning of the week either a premium or discount rate that we are either hovering above or below. Let's say we are bearish. So in bearish price action, we want to be hovering below a clear premium array. When we hover below a clear premium array at the start of the week, so for example, right there, then a clear weekly range would be, all right, we have news at the beginning of the week, which is usually, again, Tuesday or Wednesday. Can sometimes be Monday, but Tuesday or Wednesday usually. Then we sting into that, and during news, you get the setup again to continue lower, which creates the high of the week right there, which is exactly what we want to see for a clear weekly range. Clear weekly range, Tuesday, Wednesday, high of the week. Please write that down. Or low of the week, of course, if you're looking for bullish prices. Again, that is based on the economic calendar as well, and based on what do we have hovering above us. We have a premium array hovering above us. Perfect. That is exactly what we want to see. Then, if we have a nice weekly range, Wednesday and Thursday are likely expansions lower. Wednesday and Thursday are likely expansions lower right there. Then, either Thursday or Friday creates the low of the week and reaches the target. So it reaches the weekly objective. Again, the weekly objective is at the beginning of the week is not that clear, but once you are trading lower and Thursday expands, etc., it will become clearer. Then right there, inside that, so at the beginning of the week, you want to get involved with Delirium, One Shot, One Kill, Lost Art, your own trading plan, whatever you prefer right there. You want to get involved to catch that weekly range, because that's constantly what we're doing. That is high probability conditions. When we have a clear weekly range, that is extremely high probability conditions for us. That's a filtering process. So once we do have that right there, and we reach that weekly objective in the form of that currently right there, and we have candle signs now, this is where it gets very interesting. This is the details again. This is where we have candle signs now closing pretty low, either above the weekly objective or inside the weekly objective. On Thursday, we reach that objective or just short of it. We have a low close, meaning that based on candle signs, we have a very small wick relatively seen to the body. I will show you an example, don't worry. But it's a small wick relatively seen to the body. So then we have a potential of a Thank God It's Friday setup, because then we have Thank God It's Friday, aka your Friday, can sweep that previous day low right there, because we have a clear weekly range, and then Friday can act as a counter trend day, as in it wants to do the opposite of the main trend that we had established coming into the week. That is exactly a Thank God It's Friday. That is a clear weekly range. And so that is why you can see that Thank God It's Friday is a perfect add-on. It's a bonus to every trading plan that you use right there, to choose one. Delirium, One Shot, One Kill, Lost Art, your own. And you can add Thank God It's Friday setups to that. Because when you're using a filtering process, you are always looking automatically, whether you are aware of it or not, you are looking at a clear weekly range. You are trying to trade a clear weekly range. That is always what is happening. That is how you define a clear weekly range. Tuesday, Wednesday, high of the week. How can we use that? How can we see that happen? Economic calendar, everything that we already talked about. And then what happens is, again, we have Thursday, low of the week, or Friday, low of the week right there. Ideally, of course, Friday, low of the week. Because when we do reach the target, again, previous day low sweep, and then we want to look at a trade. So I will show you an exact example here. Here on this previous week, this is Monday. This candle is Monday. Then right there we have Tuesday. Then right there we have Wednesday. Now Wednesday does not sting into a clear premium array right there. Just for the example's sake, again, let's ignore that fact right there. But then afterwards we have Wednesday expansion, Thursday expansion. They reach into, this is the only time I will use any PD array that is to the left to confirm the ID for a Thank God Friday setup. It's the only time I do use it. Only time I look to the left right there, which is not part of current order flow. It's the only time I do it. Then Thursday low close. So we have Thursday low close. This is a very small wick. Right there is a very small wick. Small wick, why? Because relative to the body, it's very small, right? It's a low close. That is exactly what we want to see. So, right there, we want to mark out the previous day low. And it is also in a discount array. So, we reached a discount array. Perfect. Low close. Based on candle signs. We mark out that previous day low. What do we want to see for Thank God Friday setup? We want to go into the 15 minutes. And we have that previous day low. We want to ideally sweep that during a kill zone. So sweep that previous day low during a kill zone. And then we want to trade above it again. Trade above it. We trade above that line again right there. And then what do we see? We then see a retracement and we want to get involved right there on a fair value gap right there. Ideally a 15-minute ST. That is alone, that alone is enough. That is perfectly fine. What do you want to look to target? Your target is a 4-hour value gap or a 1-hour value gap. The first one, this is the first 4-hour value gap. Perfect. That is what you want to target right there. So that is what you're looking. Once the target has been hit, you don't look for new entries. So if you open the Notion again and you go through the Thank God Friday setup or the Thank God Friday page right there, you see trending week, OSOC again. Because usually when you have Delirium setups, when you have OSOC setups, when you have Lost Art setups, or setups of your own trading plan, what you will see, you usually have a trending week because that's what you're relying on. So when you have a trending week, usually you also have nice Thank God It's Friday setups. So they go hand in hand. That is what you want to be seeing. Thursday CS, Thursday candle signs. That is important. Friday sweep and reject during kill zone. So ideally, during a kill zone, you want to have that sweep right there and an immediate ST above it and enter on that 15-minute ST. Entry on fair value gap of ST. So that is ideally what you want to have enter on the first fair value gap. These are ideal scenarios right there. You want to enter on the fair value gap of the ST, the same as we did on the one shot one kill setup right there. Cover ST low/high right there. So that is ideally again where you want to cover ideally that low. Now again, this is of course different because we already have order flow legs working for us right there. So it's a bit different, but the same premise again, it's the same exact premise right there. Target 1 hour value gap or a 4 hour value gap, whichever one is first right there. 4 hour value gap, perfectly fine right there. Stop looking for entries once the target 1 hour value gap, 4 hour value gap has been hit. If setup is during London, target around 1 to 2. If setup is during New York, so it formed during New York, which was right here. The setup was taken during New York almost. Yeah, not in London, so it is New York right there. So what you want to do, target a 1 to 1. Again, Thank God Friday setup doesn't make your trading plan. As in, it will not be responsible for the majority of our profits. It is just a bonus. It's an extra bonus. It's a fun way to end the week, potentially, of course. So you want to be very careful with your setups, very high probability setups, and of course, picking out the right ones and not risking a lot. That is very important. If price already moved far, wait, return to premium discount and use overlapping PD arrays. Go break even according to order flow. Again, these waiting for return to premium discount, that's the exact same what we used on one shot one kill, where you use the premium discount or enter on the overlapping part, etc. That we saw as well right there. Overlapping part. This, for example. right there. Go break even according to order flow. Focus on clear weekly ranges Tuesday, Wednesday, half the week. What we mentioned, right? Weekly range defined by, we have a premium array above it if we are looking for a bearish week. So bearish week, premium array above us, hovering above us right there. And what we want to see, we want to sting into that, and then we want to reach the target right there on a Thursday, on a Friday, and then the target again being as well an opposing discount array, in this case, an opposing PD array. And then Thursday candle signs, boom, thank God Friday setup. That is what you want to ideally be doing. Now, again, if you go through the breakdown videos, etc., that is what we are looking at, and that is how we use the time frames as well. That is very important as well. Now, I want to, of course, give you as well inspiration for your whole new trading plan if you want to use it this way, etc. Because I have not touched on this before, but I do like the idea of swing rates. And I like swing rates. And if you go back to very old enrollment videos, you will also see that I use swing rates sometimes in explaining old trading plans. And the reason I do that is, how do you draw swing rates? Again, if you don't want to use this, you don't need to, but it's just an extra. And I'll tell you why I like it as an extra. It's because I personally don't use it, by the way. I personally don't use it because I don't think I need to use it. But if you like it, you can use it because it's another boundary. It's a boundary for you to go into the lower time frame. And what do I mean by that? Swing rates, you draw your Fibonacci from the high that came into the premium array. So your context, the daily context right here is what we will be using. You use from the high to the daily context low. So right there, wherever it's stinged into, if the sting was right here, and that would have been still the low, perfectly fine, then you would have drawn it like that, right? All right, perfect. So right there, what you want to be doing is, again, from the intermediate term high to the intermediate term low, because on the lower time, of course, intermediate term high, once that is confirmed, etc., etc. Then once we move lower, you have constant boundaries to go into the lower time frame. For example, what do I mean? If you're using 1 hour entries right here, then you want to potentially look at entering, all right, if we reach 0.25, I want to only enter off of that single fair value gap that is right there. And covering short-term high, etc., targeting 1 to 2, perfect. If we reached this 0.5, I want to enter on an overlapping part. So I want to enter off of that right there. Covering, again, what is above us, a 4-hour value gap above us, so we want to cover at least a 4-hour value gap right there. Perfect, still 1 to 2. Perfect. If we reach 0.75, I want to enter on only the fair value gap alone. Perfect, right there. And again, targeting that low. And the reason why we do this is because these are creating very easy entry patterns. If you want to follow along with a lag right there, then that can be easily done using the swing rates right here. And I'll tell you why. With swing rates, you have 0.25, which usually only has a sting into a fair value gap and then continues lower. 0.5 is where it's equilibrium. It's equilibrium in our context. So in our context is, again, the daily PD rate to the daily PD rate. So that is where it's equilibrium. So there you will see consolidations. When you see consolidations like that, usually you get an overlapping entry. So you get an entry right there where it's overlapping with something. So a fair value gap overlapping with another discount or premium array. 0.75 is, again, where you usually see only a sting into a fair value gap and then we explode lower. So we have 0.25 fast movement, fair value gap. And again, this is probability speaking, right? It doesn't always happen, but again, it's probabilities. 0.5 slow movement, consolidation, liquidity sweep right there. Enter on an overlapping part. Again, this is also where you get liquidity sweeps at 0.5 right there. 0.75 fast entry again. That is what you want to be looking until we reach terminus. Terminus meaning we reach the context low right there. So the swing grades here can give you an easy entry pattern. They give you a guideline to knowing what to do. But sorry to scream at you, But it is very important right there to understand the timeframes. Because if you don't understand the timeframes, this will not work. What do I mean by that? If you are using daily context, I want you to be using 1 hour order flow here for your context, or depending on how close that context low is. This is where intuition experience comes into play. Why is that? That is important because if we were to use 15-minute ST plus reads right here, then it would, of course, it wouldn't work because this is very confusing price action. So ideally, you want to have the least amount of price action to work with inside the context, but still enough that you have overlapping entries, which in this case is the 1 hour right here. But the 4 hour would be too high because right here we just have too little to work with. But the 1 hour here is perfect. So again, that leads me to say that the ST entry that we usually talk about in Delirium, that is the one where you want to be using for your swing rates right here. So what do I mean by that? 4 hour context in Delirium is 15-minute ST entry. If you have 4 hour context and you use 15-minute ST entries, so 4 hour context, we have that right there. We have that. And we're overlapping with that low right there. Perfect. So then targeting that low, if we use 15-minute context or 15-minute ST, then the 15-minute ST entry would be right there, right? Then this is again where we can use swing rates, because if we go into the 5-minute right here, from that high to that low, and this is again where we can use the same thing, 0 to 25, 0 to 5, 0 to 75. Again, will it always work? No, it won't. But this is a basic premise, because if we go into the 5-minute right here, you have too much price action to work with, or in order for the swing rates to work. That is why I don't use swing rates, because I don't enter off of STs. When you do enter off of STs, then this can be nice to work with. But again, if you enter off of ST plus re-entries, so you're using Delirium, the basic Delirium. Again, I'm not talking about Lost Art here, because Lost Art has 1 hour ST plus re-entries. That is different. That is different because if you're using daily context with 1 hour ST plus re, then that's not the original training plan. But I'm referring to Delirium original training plan that you use 4 hour context of daily, 4 hour context, 5-minute ST plus re, then the swing rates won't work. But if you use 15-minute ST, then it might work to also use extra entries as re-entries, etc., etc. That is very important to understand. Let me know if that makes sense as well. That needs to be very clear right there. So I'll explain it one more time right there. If you plan on using swing rates with the characteristics that we just had, then every characteristic right there can be an entry pattern on its own. Right there, 0 to 25 can be an entry pattern on the fair value gap alone. 0 to 5 can be overlapping entry pattern. 0 to 75 can be a fair value gap entry on its own again. As long as you know that you combine the timeframes correctly. Combining the timeframes correctly is that if we look at the original Delirium trading plan, then it is important to understand that the ST plus re-entries that we use in those contexts inside Delirium trading plan, they won't work on that. But if you use it on the ST entries off of the Delirium trading plan, then they will work. And every time frame above it, again, that's where you need to have that experience to see, all right, we don't want too much price action to work with, but also not too little price action to work with. That is important to understand right there. All right, and that is how you can get creative with the time frames as well. You can use the swing rates because it is a very easy factor to use right there if you do want to, and you know how to combine the time frames correctly. That is very important as well. So for example, here on the 4 hour, we have this context. Again, this is not financial advice or anything, but we have this context right there, 4 hour value gap, and we want to continue lower off of that. High, low right there. Then right here, if we were to go into the 15-minute, we could potentially look to use the swing rates right there to get involved. Now, again, this is it's what I just talked about. You don't want to have too little price action and you don't want to have too much price action. Here, it's too little price action, but we also don't want to use 5-minute right there because that's the original Delirium trading plan. So here, it would not work. Again, that is picking your poison because the trading plan is picking your poison. You will miss moves, but you will also have great moves. every training plan you will choose, it will miss moves. And that is about picking your poison. That is very important. You can't catch them all, and you don't need to, and you don't want to, because less is more in training. Very, very important to realize as well. Alright, then tomorrow we touch on flow training plan, which is again the next step. It's even more advanced. So that is very important to understand. This was the next step in that foundation building. And then eventually we can get more advanced, of course. So tomorrow, flow training plan, where we go over the indices, etc., etc. Alright, perfect. Thank you.